Most people have never heard the term ambient computing, and yet many are already surrounded by it. It's the invisible layer of tech that quietly watches, learns, and acts without needing your permission or even your attention. While headlines obsess over AI chatbots, quantum computers, and the latest foldable phones, ambient computing is sneaking in under the radar. It's the kind of tech revolution that doesn't make noise, but it could end up controlling everything. In this video, we're going to break down what ambient computing actually is, how it works, why it matters, and why barely anyone is talking about it. We'll explore its promise and its problems, because if we don't start paying attention to it now, we might not notice it until it's too late. Let's get into it. Let's start with a simple truth. Ambient computing is one of the most important technologies you've never heard of. And that's not hype. You're probably using it right now, without even realizing it. It's not some futuristic tech from a sci-fi movie, and it's not locked away in a lab somewhere. It's in your home, your phone, your car, your watch, even your coffee maker. It's in airports, hospitals, and even the stores you shop in. Ambient computing is a concept where technology blends so seamlessly into your environment, it becomes invisible. It listens, it watches, it learns, then it acts, without you having to do a thing. It's not just one device. It's a network of smart things that work together quietly to automate your life. Think about your smart thermostat that adjusts itself based on your location. Your smart speaker plays your favorite playlist as you walk in. The oven preheats itself at 6:30, just like you do every night, where your phone reminds you it's time to leave for work because it saw your calendar and checked the traffic. These are small things, helpful things, but behind them is a bigger shift, one where you're no longer in full control. The tech doesn't just respond to you, it starts to anticipate you. It makes assumptions about your preferences, your schedule, even your emotional state. And here's the part most people miss. It doesn't ask for your permission every time, because it already has it. You clicked agree 5 privacy policies ago, and now it's running the show. In tech circles, this is called context-aware computing, systems that know who you are, where you are, and what you're doing, so they can make choices for you. But let's keep this real, not buzzword bingo. You walk into your house, and the lights turn on. Your speaker starts playing without a word. Your oven is already heating up. That's ambient computing. That's a system learning you, adapting to you, predicting you. And it's not just in homes. Offices, factories, airports, hospitals, retail, ambient systems are everywhere. I mean, Amazon Go stores? You walk in, grab what you need, walk out. No checkout, no cashier. That's ambient computing too, powered by sensors, AI, and data analysis running quietly in the background. All of this convenience means more data about you, sometimes more than you realize. It's the dream of frictionless living, but it's also the beginning of a world where you don't always know what's making the decisions or why. Convenience comes at a cost, transparency and control. So now that you know what ambient computing is, the next question is, why does it matter? And why should you care? So now that you know what ambient computing is, let's talk about why it actually matters. Because this isn't just about smart gadgets doing party tricks. This is about a fundamental shift in how we interact with the digital world. The promise of ambient computing is simple. Less friction, more automation. Your devices become proactive, not reactive. Helpful, not needy. Instead of tapping, typing, or swiping, things just happen. That sounds amazing, until you realize the trade-off. You're not always the one making the decisions anymore. Let's start with the good stuff. Ambient computing can simplify daily life. Your car warms up on a cold morning because it knows your routine. Your groceries reorder themselves when you're bringing low. Your schedule shifts automatically if you get stuck in traffic. It's like having your own invisible concierge, following you around, quietly making life smoother. It's also scalable. This isn't just about homes. It's happening in hospitals, factories, retail, even agriculture. Smart sensors in hospitals can alert staff before a patient's condition worsens. In retail, shelves know when they're empty and reorder products themselves. In farming, soil sensors and weather data guide irrigation and crop planning. We're talking real-world efficiency, cost savings, and yes, lives saved. But here's where things get complicated. The better these systems get at predicting your needs, the more data they need to collect. And not just what time you leave the house data. We're talking emotional states, biometrics, location history, browsing patterns, and behavior profiles. The more accurate the prediction, the deeper the invasion. And most of the time, you're not even aware it's happening. There's no permission pop-up, no alert saying, hey, is it cool if we map your stress levels using your smartwatch and sell it to a wellness brand? No friendly reminder, no opt-in screen, because again, you already agreed to it. Somewhere, buried in 14,000 words of legal soup. This kind of passive data collection leads to a bigger problem, a lack of accountability. Who decides what these systems should do with your data? What happens when a prediction goes wrong? Or worse, when it quietly steers your choices, like which ads you see or which routes your GPS suggests? Imagine your thermostat notices you're always home on Tuesdays, so it keeps you warm, but never asks why you were home. What if you were sick or unemployed? The system doesn't ask questions, it just acts. Ambient computing doesn't always know the context behind the context, and yet it still makes decisions, quietly, automatically. That's the risk. When you give up manual control, you also give up oversight. And as these systems become more autonomous, that loss of control becomes harder to notice until it's already gone. Some systems offer settings or dashboards for control, but let's be honest, most people never use them. As these systems scale, the effects ripple out, shaping not just personal routines, but entire industries and communities. So yes, ambient computing makes life easier, but easy isn't always better, especially when you're not sure who's steering the ship. Let's talk about what nobody wants to talk about, the dark side of ambient computing. Because yes, it's convenient. Yes, it's impressive. But it's also quietly rewriting the rules of privacy, and most people have no idea. The entire concept of ambient computing is built on surveillance, not in a dystopian 1984 way, more like, don't worry, we're just here to help. It doesn't feel invasive, and that's the problem. There's no flashing warning light, no buzzing alert saying, hey, just FYI, we're collecting data on your every move. Because it's not one device watching you, it's all of them. Your thermostat, your TV, your fitness tracker, even your fridge. They each gather tiny bits of information. On their own, not a big deal. Together, they know you better than your best friend. They build a frighteningly accurate profile of you. How you sleep, when you eat, how often you leave the house, even how fast your heart races when you get a text from your ex. And here's the thing. You didn't consciously choose to share most of that. Sure, you accepted the terms and conditions, but no one reads those. They're not written for humans. They're written for lawyers. And behind all that legal sludge is a simple truth. You gave up control in exchange for convenience. Now add AI to the mix. Ambient computing systems don't just observe anymore. They predict. They profile. They infer. Sometimes it crosses into manipulation. Your smart speaker hears you cough and recommends cold medicine. Is that useful? Or creepy? Or both? Your smartwatch detects anxiety spikes when you check your bank balance, so it stops showing you financial updates. Helpful? Or control? We're entering a world where tech doesn't just respond to your behavior, it shapes it. You get nudged, redirected, protected from information that might upset you, all in the name of convenience or well-being. At what point does that stop being helpful and start being censorship? And who decides what you shouldn't see? That's the real danger, invisible influence. It's not obvious, it doesn't feel oppressive, but it quietly shapes your actions, your thoughts, even your access to information. And this isn't the first time technology has quietly changed the rules. Remember how social media started out as a way to connect with friends and share updates? Over time, algorithms took over, curating what we see, what we read, and even what we believe. Instead of just showing posts in order, platforms began predicting what would keep us scrolling, feeding us content that matched our interests, biases, and emotions. At first, it seemed harmless, just more relevant posts and recommendations. But gradually, these algorithms began to shape our culture, flattening our tastes and making us more passive consumers. They amplified sensational and extreme content, created echo chambers, and sometimes spread misinformation or divisive narratives. The result? Our social learning, how we figure out what's normal or true, got hijacked by invisible systems designed to maximize engagement, not understanding. The lesson? When technology fades into the background, it becomes even more important to question who's steering the ship and whose interests are being served. Ambient computing is subtle. It's not loud. It doesn't break things. It bends them. So what can we do about it? Start by asking questions and demanding transparency from the companies behind these systems. And unless we start asking hard questions now about data, transparency, and who's really in charge, we might sleepwalk into a future we didn't choose, one that runs perfectly, quietly, and completely without us. Okay, so ambient computing is everywhere. It's growing fast and it's doing things without asking. But does that mean you should be worried? Honestly, that depends on how much trust you're comfortable giving to machines and the people behind them. Because ambient computing isn't inherently good or bad, it's a tool. Like electricity, the internet, or a really sharp knife, it all depends on how we use it. The problem is, most people don't even know it's happening. So we're not having the conversation. We're not asking questions like, who decides what data gets collected? Who profits from it? And who's making decisions for us, often without our input? We just accept the convenience and move on until something goes wrong. A system locks you out because it thought you were someone else. A recommendation makes an offensive assumption. A decision gets made that affects your health, your finances, your opportunities. These aren't hypotheticals. They're happening. And the more invisible the tech becomes, the harder it is to trace where the problem started or who's responsible. That's why awareness matters. You don't need to be a programmer or a data scientist to care about ambient computing. You just need to realize your environment is becoming intelligent, and that intelligence is learning from you. That's not necessarily bad. Some of it is amazing. It can simplify life, automate the boring stuff, give you time back. But we have to make sure we don't trade away our freedom to choose just because it's easier. We need transparency about what's being collected. We need accountability when systems fail. And we need real options to opt out, to override, or to simply say, no, I'll do it myself. Ask questions. Read privacy settings. Support policies that give you more control. Because if we don't demand that now, we may not get the chance to later. The beauty of ambient computing is how seamlessly it fits into life. The danger is that you might not notice when it starts making life for you. So should you be worried? Maybe not yet, but you should definitely be paying attention. The future of technology should be something we shape, not something that quietly shapes us. So that's ambient computing. Quiet, smart, invisible. And if you weren't already surrounded by it, you will be soon. This isn't science fiction. It's not 5 years away. It's now. So if this video made you think, even a little, do me a favor. Share it. Seriously. The algorithm's always listening, and sharing helps more people join the conversation. And if you want more deep dives into the overlooked, the unsettling, or the just plain weird corners of tech, you know what to do. Until then, keep questioning, keep watching, and stay alert to the quiet tech all around you. Because the future isn't loud, it's ambient, and it's already here.